Well, you can't trust County.
I am ready.
Okay, well, I'm going to jump right into this. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of CreepTime, the podcast with Silas, Dean, and Stu. Deep breath.
Deep breaths, creepers, deep breaths.
I do need to center myself before this, just because it's been... I feel like we both had one of those days where we're just like running. But
yes,
I really wanted to focus in like this hour that we spent with you guys. This one's going to be extra good because I was telling Stu before we got on, we are not doing a case per se. I have chosen 3 true scary stories that I have found across the internet that I am going to read for you. I have a feeling from the stories I have selected, I will hear many gasps. I will hear many oh my gods. I think I will hear a lot coming from you.
I think that these are maybe going to make me do that thing that you do where you start tearing up.
I was literally rereading one, editing it, and I started tearing up. I also can't stop thinking about the Appalachia video, the Appalachian Hay. I almost picked an Appalachia story for Hey. It's like,
oh, that's what it is. Hey.
Should I just play the video for I'll pull it up. Give me 1 second. Because I have it in our
We've
our
talked
details.
about it too much now.
So for anybody who didn't listen to the last episode, quick top line about what this is. There is a legend of the Appalachian Hay, which people say there are things in the woods along the Appalachian Trail and whatnot. Like you don't look to the forest. People have talked about hearing a disembodied voice say the word hay. And no one has ever really proven this, but there is a girl who claimed that she caught this on camera. And I sent it to Stu, and I was doing that thing where I was like crying. I was tearing up. It's so scary. Like,
I hate it because it's in the middle of the day and she's by herself.
That makes my stomach turn. It makes me sick. Well, let me just skim through this video of Reba being asked if she's done poppers. Looking through the things in our like details, like our text notes, is wild. Like, first of all,
it's like,
can you see this?
Stop.
Can you see this?
Is that a Raising Cane's?
It's a Church's.
It's a Church's.
Baby, it's a Church's. Damn, where is this video? Hold on.
I feel like there's like 3 things that are true about us. We love Reba, we love fried chicken, and we love Nancy.
Those are.
I mean, that's 3 of many, but those are 3 pillars.
That's my holy trinity. I mean, you're telling me. Hold on, I'm scrolling. I just went through a big like. Did you ever clear out your whole phone? Where you just like do a little cleanup of all your videos and stuff, and then you're like, wait, did I actually delete something I needed?
No, I'm one of those people that I legitimately have 20,000 unread emails.
What, emails?
Yeah, like in my Gmail.
No. I mean, you're too far gone. Like that would institutionalize me.
I mean,
if I have 10 unread emails, I'm gonna have a stroke. Like every
like, I mean, with my work email, not a thing goes unread. But my personal email,
of course.
I'm like, I could give a rat's ass about half of the things that come through.
Oh, I think I got the video. Okay. So again, This is the audio, because if you're listening, you'll only hear the audio of the Appalachian Hay.
I was gonna come explore with my husband today, but he couldn't get off from work because he's boring, so thought I'd bring you guys.
I would spew vomit. I'd be so scared.
That third one is so weird because at first you're like, it's a bird, it's like an animal, and then you hear in the third one, it's like, hey.
It's so pronounced. Like, what animal makes that noise though? Like, I've heard animals make noise. They've never heard a bird make a noise that's like, hey, and it's getting closer is the thing. I've also heard stories of people that hear like children or like babies crying in the woods a lot. Like it's always something to like lure you somewhere, which scares
That's so
the
foul.
absolute crap out of me. So just wanted to start off with that. And then we're going to get... That should be like my like think bubble sound. Like whenever I check off a to-do or something, it's like... Now, before we do get into this episode, I just want to say thank you everybody for stopping by at CreepTime the podcast. Please make sure that you're following and subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss an episode, because we come out with new ones every single week. Can you tell I'm like on one right now?
I'm loving the energy you're bringing.
Because
It's like half Jafar, half...
I think it's all Jafar, Mama. I think it's 100%
It's just Jafar.
Nothing is more insulting
like-
than somebody telling you remind them of Jafar. Let me just tell you.
Okay, I thought Jafar was kind of hot, but that just might be me.
You see, and this brings us back to our original conversation about therapy. We're circling full back. You see how this is all tying together.
I mean, yeah, 100%. I could see that.
I know what you mean, though. Like, there is a thing about, like, Disney villains being hot, and nobody wants to admit that.
Mhm.
But, like, it's
I know.
very much true.
It is true.
Most Disney villains, like, I'm thinking of Hades from Hercules. Hot.
Yeah, are you
Gaston.
kidding?
Hot.
Funny.
Uh,
Hot, funny.
quick.
Not Gaston. Hades was quick.
Mm-hmm.
Gaston, just big old burly. Hey, remember when you were basically Gaston?
Oh, yeah.
When we did
Brahm.
tour?
Yeah. From Sleepy Hollow.
Brahm.
That just brought me back to a dark place internally.
I know.
It just-
I know. We can't go there.
It made my chest like shake. It made my bosom shake, baby. Now,
Made my bosom shake.
okay, back on track before my ADHD spirals out. Thank you again, everybody, for stopping by. Make sure that you follow. Please, if you feel so inclined, leave us a review on Apple, because we love those. We love to read through them. And what are the other things that I usually say? Oh, if you have extra case suggestions, feel free to comment those down below. I think you can comment on... Well, you can comment on Spotify or YouTube if you listen to it there. And if you want to comment on Apple, you would have to do that as a review. But we are open to case
I think
suggestions.
so.
Yeah. But
I love the case suggestions because I know we've done a ton of them and they've all been spectacular. So
we have so many on Reddit right now that we're like set for a year. Like, we have so many good suggestions that we're never going to run out of
Amazing.
cases to do, which has made me so happy. And a lot of them are cases that I've never heard of. So it's like opens up a new opportunity where I'm like, I can read something and like get to react to it for the first time, or you could read it and I could blind react. Like, that's what's fun about seeing a case that I've never heard of before. But just wanted to start off with that. And with Stu, oh my God.
with Stu, baby. With Stu.
And with that, Stu, are you ready for these scary stories?
I am ready for these story scaries. I'm just going to read you now.
I was like, please do it, baby. I need the wake up call. I've just been like very split focused today, but I have all this research and I have all these stories. So I'm going to read them to you verbatim. And I have, some of them are credited, some of them are not. One of them, I forgot which one, I was able to like verify that it is true, because there were like pictures and videos that went along with it. Like, but supposedly all three of these are true accounts of things that happened. Now, the first one, I titled this. This is not the title of the story. I just titled it in my notes as Dominoes.
Pizza?
Yes. Dominoes. Pizza? Dominoes, please sponsor, mama. We're here for you. It is by Ernesto Ivano. So here we go. I used to work at a Domino's. They close at 3 a.m. and on weekends... let me start that one over. Sorry.
monologue that I did in high school. 100%.
Every audition between 2016 to 2019. I used to work at a Domino's.
In all blacks, I walk out on stage. There's only a spotlight and one black box next to me. I used to work at a Domino's.
This is you. This is your curtain speech from tour. You come out
Yes,
in front
100%.
of 2,000 people. You go, I used to work at a Domino's. Oh my God. I'm trying to set a tone and I'm just, all right.
It's fine, baby.
Okay. Sorry. All right.
Because now, do you understand now? This is what would happen to me with the curtain speech.
Yeah, I do understand. Because like once it goes, it's like gone.
Once it goes, yep.
You're going to watch how fast I'm going to flip this. All right.
Yep.
I used to work at a Domino's and they close at 3 a.m. And I was always there on weekends. And being that I was taking a year off from college, my boss would often take advantage of that. And he always threw me on the 9 to 3 a.m. shifts. There would always be at least 3 people who were working that late. There was one who would cook the pizzas, there was one who would take orders, and there was always one who needed to do deliveries. This night, the one cooking the pizzas, Jeff, a 28-year-old Italian guy who worked 2 jobs and was always in a bad mood, told me to go deliver something, so when he did, I did it without complaints. So, being a Saturday night, it wasn't uncommon to get calls for deliveries past 2 a.m., and around 2:30, I was told to deliver 2 pizzas to an address that I still vaguely remember, 27 Crocker Drive, or something close to that. I took my stupid beat-up 2002 Honda Civic up the road for 5 minutes, the only main road that cuts through our tiny town. I live in the Manchester Township area of Jersey, containing a whole lot of nothing but trees everywhere. Did I hear a little something? What was that?
Yes, I know where that is.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Good. My drive there was a dark one after merging off the main road onto smaller roads with no streetlights. The only light that could be seen for miles were my headlights. I turned off the public road onto a dirt road with a private property sign posted outside, and it seemed that I had arrived at the house that I was delivering to, and suddenly I heard a bang reverberating through my car, followed by a weakened sense of handling of my car, as if it was like repeatedly flopping, a flopping sound. I knew for certain that I had just gotten a flat tire. I stopped the car at once and got out to confirm the front right tire was completely flat, and I could see through the headlights that the house was within walking distance from the car. So instead of calling my insurance company, it would make more sense to go deliver the pizza and also ask the person for help. Mistake number 1, sir. I got to the deck of the house. It was an average size house completely enclosed by trees, as were most of the houses around here. The lights were on inside, but all of the blinds were shut. I rang the bell, and quickly, a normal-looking young man answered the door before exchanging the pizzas for money, and I told the man about my predicament that I had just found myself in. A look of concern came over his face as he handed me the money, and I handed him the pizzas. He came outside and took a look at my car with me. It was just like a 30-second walk from the house. He got to my car and he started analyzing the tire. He said he could help me, but he just needed to get some tools inside. And I started questioning, what it was I could have hit on his dirt driveway. And he yelled out to me, "Don't worry about it." As I was walking down the road, I walked a bit further, kind of ignoring him, and I noticed a spike strip in the road. A very small one, but undoubtedly that is what I hit. I couldn't see any other reason for that to be there other than him putting it there deliberately. I started thinking over all the possibilities of what could be going down here, so I pretended that I didn't see the spike strip and I walked back saying I didn't find anything. He looked at me and I was worried that he might have been suspicious, but then he turned away and he said he was going inside to get the tools. God only knows what he meant by tools. I waited for him to get to the front door before I got back to my car, turned the car on, and threw it in reverse. I was not sticking around there to find out what he was doing. I heard the flat tire wobble on the dirt road as my car slowly rolled in reverse, and I made a point of avoiding the spike strip this time with my car. My car pulled out from the private dirt road onto the concrete road, and I took one last look down the man's driveway to make sure he wasn't following me, and I took off. I couldn't drive too fast, though, and kind of risk damaging my wheels, so I stayed steady at 10 to 15 miles per hour, and I looked in my rearview mirror, and I saw something behind my car. The man running after my car. I had no choice but to step on it, forcing me to cringe as I could literally hear and feel the damage being done to my wheel. The distance between my car and the man got greater until he was out of sight. After turning back onto the main road that I had mentioned earlier, I slowed down the speed a little bit back to 10 to 15, and it was a long ride back, roughly 20 minutes since I was driving so slow. And when I got back to the place, it would be closing in 10 minutes, and I had to return the domino sign that they would make you put on top of your cars to do deliveries. Jeff was upset with me that I had taken so long, but then I told him the whole story. And the woman who was also working the same shift as us listened in with a look of shock on her face the entire time. When the time came to close, Jeff told me I should just drive home very slow, since I live like a block down the street, and I should take care of it tomorrow. The two went off to their cars and drove away. I sat in my car for a little bit thinking. Eventually, I turned my car on and started my slow drive back to my house. I noticed, however, that a car without its lights on was following close behind me for a while. So I pulled over in front of some small house to see if they would do the same thing, and the car passed me. And then they pulled over on the same side of the street a little bit further down.
No.
I immediately started to panic, knowing that this had to be the man. And I figured that he found me because he knew the Domino's that he ordered from and went there. I couldn't lead him to my house, so even though I didn't know for certain if it was him, I had to be overly paranoid, and I called the cops. I had police come to my exact location for fear of being followed, and after 5 to 10 minutes of waiting, a cop car slowly rolled down the street, and I beeped my horn to stop him. He stopped in reverse so that his windows were lined up with mine, and then we both rolled them down. I pointed to the car in front of me with its lights off, still sitting there in front of me. And just then, the car zoomed out from its parked position, lights still off, instantly disappearing down the road into the night. The cop put his lights on and sped after him, not saying a word. I didn't even know if he wanted me to follow him, but I couldn't because of my tire. So I just drove home as quick as I could and parked my car in the driveway. I still don't know if that cop ever caught that driver, and somehow I doubt he did, but I'd like to imagine he did. Either way, I always made sure to watch my back every time I drove home after that night, and I quit that job 2 months later.
What the hell is spike tape? I've never heard that in my life.
You've never heard of a
That you put it down
spike strip?
purposefully?
You've never heard of that?
No, or spike strip.
Yeah.
Spike tape. Spike strip.
I was like, well,
That-
I don't know what
I
spike
guess
tape
to
is
pop
either.
someone's tire.
Yeah. That's what cops usually throw that out during like a high-speed chase to like pop somebody's tire.
Wow.
When Mel and I were driving on our road trip, we almost went down this back road and we had a really bad gut feeling. We had so many things go down on this road trip, but this was our exact fear that we were afraid of. We're like, this is one of those roads where like somebody puts out a spike strip, you run over it, you get a flat, and then they pull the strip back into the forest. And then while you're out like looking at your tire, somebody comes out and they grab you. That is so.
Oh my God.
Like if I could have painted the picture.
Is that a thing that happens?
Absolutely.
Like, do people actually?
Absolutely.
Oh my God, that's so foul.
Stu, it's even more convoluted. Like there are some people that will like create like a stage or like a diversion, something in the road to like get you to pull over. Like they'll put like a stroller or something, like something that like gets people to pull over to get out, and then or somebody will like dress as like a cop. And they'll have like,
I've heard that.
They'll have cones out or something, and they'll be like flagging, like trying to direct traffic, but they're actually like just getting you, like letting your guard down because you think you're in the presence of a cop. That is so scary. Let me tell you something. If I was ever in that scenario and somebody got close to my car, the first whiff that something was up, I can't even tell you how fast and hard I would floor it. Everybody's getting run over. Pedestrians run over. Curbs gone. My car flipping over. Like I am flooring it.
that is amazing that this person was able to get out of there. Because I feel like in the times that I've popped a tire, it's like the countdown to when you can no longer drive is on. Like, where
You've
your
got,
car
like,
is just like, we're not going anymore.
maybe like 10, 20 miles at most, before like
Yeah.
your car has some severe damage where you can't really drive anymore. So scared. Just the thought of like doing a delivery though, because deliveries. Did you ever work as a delivery driver or do something like that? It's scary.
Can you see my ass as a Domino's driver?
Like it. Listen,
I would be the worst. Like I would have dropped every freaking pie. I would have been the most nervous Nelly.
You're a hustler though. I can see you as somebody who's worked a lot of different jobs. Like, because I know I worked a lot of different jobs, but doing deliveries especially, it's a little sketchy sometimes.
I think I would be terrible as a delivery driver. I think I would be terrible in the kitchen, like as like a sous chef. I think I would be
never a chef, always a sous chef.
Right.
Specifically a sous chef. You're like, I'm in the prep station.
I'm in the prep. Oh my
Pastries
God.
only.
But like I have never thought about how actually scary it must be to be a delivery driver that late at night. Like, you don't know who the hell you're going to see after 2 a.m.
Oh, and those like some sketchy houses too that you have to deliver to. Like you have to like, thank God for contactless delivery post COVID, but that was never a thing. Like people were always like having to usually like knock on a door or ring a doorbell, like personally hand something off to somebody. It's really freaky.
Super freaky. Also, could his coworkers not give him a ride home that night?
You know, they kind of sounded like asses from the beginning, but who really knows? Was his name Jeff?
Jeff.
Rotten man, Jeff. I do have another story though. Do you want to get into the second one?
God.
This one's
let's do the second one.
This is actually not going to go too far from Jersey. Actually, it technically starts in Jersey and then is going to pivot over to New York City. So this is from Jeremy Knight. And all I titled it in my notes was Roommate.
That's already terrifying.
Sinister doesn't even begin. It's the groundwork. Sinister is the foundation, and we're building from there.
I've lived alone for too long now. The word roommate sends shivers down my spine.
I was like, when I was researching these, I found one that was like terrifying supermarket story, and like it started with like, I worked nights at the supermarket because I'm a single mom of 3, and someone was like, that's the story. That's the end. It's scary enough. That's terrifying.
Wait, when I first moved into this building, there's this man that lives on my floor, an older gentleman. I've actually talked about him on the podcast before. He's just got quite a personality. And so he's asking me about, where I'm starting to get settled in and where do I get my groceries? And I said, I just normally go to the Safeway, which I guess is like, it's like your run of the mill, like Giant or like, Food Lion or whatever. He looks at me dead in my eyes and goes, Jesus Christ. As if I had just told him that I was like in, garbage cans looking for scraps.
Wait, why? I don't get it. It's just because it's so expensive?
No, because it's so inexpensive, I guess. And like, it's like it's like, just kind of your grimy grocery store. Like, it's not anything fancy. It's not a Whole Foods, but it's like fine.
Oh,
it's totally fine. He was being pretentious, but him looking me in my eyes going, Jesus Christ.
I'm trying to think what would make me say that to somebody. Like what? I mean, I scoff at people who go to not even expensive grocery stores, but just generally expensive places to buy food. Like I know people who genuinely buy like groceries at CVS, and I'm like, you're insane. Like that's markups are, and like same, and they complain about it too. They're like, God, inflation is getting crazy, which they're not wrong, but I'm like, well, baby, you're shopping for like a box of cereal at a CVS. That's like a $10 box of cereal. It's robbery.
Someone that's shopping for groceries at CVS regularly needs to get checked.
Same thing with Target too.
That's the
I know
scary story.
Listen, they sell food. It doesn't mean you should buy it there. Walk your ass over to Trader Joe's, get to an Aldi's.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I love Aldi's. Owned by the same people who own Trader Joe's.
I love Aldi's, but I don't like that they make you pay for a cart.
It's refundable.
Insane.
Oh my God. You put a little quarter in. You get it back.
Wait, do you get it back?
Yes. It's a deposit. Oh my God. She's never been to an Aldi's.
I've never been
Cut
to
the
an
max,
Aldi's.
everybody.
Somebody told me that you had to put a coin in to get a cart, and I said, couldn't be me.
And you see, this is misinformation because they did not finish the statement. The way that Aldi's works, first of all, Aldi's at any given time has one employee working. They are the manager, the cashier, the stocker, the cart return. That's how they keep prices so low. The system is that you go in and you put a coin into the cart, which stays there in place. And then you get to go shop. And then when you check out, they transfer your groceries to like another cart they have there, which you then like take out. And then you pull your coin out. Yeah. I think that's how that works. Yeah.
Now I'm going to Aldi's.
Well, the reason they do it is so that people they don't have to waste time and like money getting somebody to go out to the parking lot. This is a promo for Aldi's. This is like the mid-roll sponsorship for Aldi's. But they do that so they don't have to get people to go out and like retrieve carts. It's so you bring your cart back yourself. Because
that's actually smart. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Aldi's. Thanks for being innovative and pushing us further.
Aldi's.
Should I get into Roommate by Jeremy Knight?
Yes.
This one is freaky. Okay. When I was 22, I got a job in New York City. Living in Jersey, however, there was no way that I was going to be able to do that commute daily, so moving was a necessity. The only thing is that I didn't have a lot of money. Yet, when I saw this ad in Craigslist for an available bedroom in an apartment in Hell's Kitchen at a really low price, I jumped on it. I took a ride to the city the next day to view the apartment, and the landlord gave me a quick tour of the place. The landlord himself seemed a bit socially awkward, and I didn't really care, and it didn't really matter at all because the place didn't come with him. But the place did come with a catch. I'd have a roommate, the landlord said. He's very quiet and very to himself kind of person, which was good. So my roommate's name would be Bren. The landlord knocked on Bren's door, asking if he'd like to come out and say hello, but Bren didn't answer. The landlord suggested that he might be taking a nap, so we moved to talking in the living room, where I said I was interested in renting, and I signed an application, and the next day, the landlord called me and offered me the room. So I moved in the next week. My dad helped me unload all my furniture into my little room. And something odd to know is that never once did this Bren character come out during all that commotion to at least say hi. He was definitely home. We heard him moving around in his room. And I came to the early realization that he probably wasn't going to be very friendly at all. When we finished unloading the van, my dad left and I was alone. Officially moved out, I sat on my bed and started to watch Netflix on my laptop, and then I heard Bren's door from his room open and close. This seemed like my chance, like I could go out and say hi, because it was his first time leaving his room. I got out of my bed, but before I could even get to my bedroom door, the front door of the apartment slammed shut. I stepped outside into the living room, and no one was there. I didn't know what the deal was with this Bren guy, but surely he had to know that we would have to meet eventually. So I went back to my room, ate a bowl of ramen, and I went to sleep. I woke up when I heard the front door of the apartment close again, and then footsteps followed. The footsteps on the creaky wood floor made their way to the outside of my door, and then stopped. I sat up and looked at the crack below my door, and the outlines of feet could be seen, creeping from the light underneath the door. Why was he just standing there like a creep? Of course, I didn't say anything. I just waited for him to walk away. I didn't even have my door locked, and I was low-key terrified of him entering my room, but thankfully he walked away from my door and back to his room, and I heard his door shut. I tried to go to sleep, but all night I could hear thumps coming from his room, and I had no idea what he could possibly be doing. And I was tempted to go knock on his door and tell him, to keep it down, but I hadn't even met the guy yet, so I just kind of had to deal with it. Eventually, I fell asleep, and when I woke up in the morning, it seemed that Bren was already out. Maybe at work, I really didn't know at the time. I spent most of that day shopping for groceries and basic apartment necessities, And when I got back, I dropped all the bags on the couch in the living room to give myself a rest. I cooked dinner. I watched some Netflix on the couch, all while Bren never came home. And I did a quick run to the nearby 7-Eleven to get some toothpaste right after that. And when I got back, I noticed that Bren's door was cracked open and that the light was on. So I figured, this is it. This was my moment to go and say hello. I went to his door and I knocked slightly twice, and then I pushed the door open. And what I found in there was shocking. Or maybe I should say what I didn't find. The room was completely empty. Not a single piece of furniture except for a single chair that was sitting in the corner of the room, kind of like a chair that you would see in a high school classroom. My heart suddenly started racing and I started to shake. I turned off the light in the room and I shut the door. And I wondered, could this Bren person have been in the process of moving out? I went to my room and I locked the door and I sat on my bed, suddenly getting a really bad headache. So I took my phone and I decided to call the landlord and ask him what the hell was going on. After dialing his number on the phone to my ear, I heard it ring loud from my closet. I felt my heart, which was already racing, was now in my stomach. The phone rang twice and then went to voicemail. I got out of my bed, ready to open my closet, but I stopped and realized that given that the phone rang twice, that means that somebody had his phone and then declined the call. I had the sick realization that the landlord was most likely in my closet. And there never even was a Bren. I ran to the bathroom and locked myself in, and I called the cops, and they got to my apartment shortly after and helped me search the whole apartment. And sure enough, we found the landlord hiding under my bed.
No.
I tried pressing charges for trespassing, trying to get myself out of the lease, but it turned out there never even was a lease. The dude wasn't even an actual landlord. He didn't even own the apartment. I never got the rest of the story as to how he actually got the keys in the first place. And I had my dad come the next day and we moved all of my stuff back home. I found another apartment the next week and it was a huge hassle going through the moving process all over again. And I knew from the start that so-called landlord gave off bad vibes. I just never could have imagined the events that were about to take place. Mama.
Oh my God.
The way I would piss myself. I would piss myself. Shorts wet. Undies soaked. Gilly Hicks thong ripped into pieces.
Obliterated. I'm actually crying.
Not obliterated. Is that not the scariest thing you have ever heard?
Okay. So as somebody that lived in New York in some crappy freaking apartments, one of which was in Hell's Kitchen, mind you. Remember, it was the one above the Wicked Theater where I had a cardboard box as my side table.
It's so dark. It's so dark.
That I thought was about as dark as it could get in like a seedy apartment building.
Mm.
The idea that this person faked being a landlord and then like what the hell was he plotting to do with this
just spy
person?
A spy on him?
Yeah,
I mean,
there's like
clearly
freaky fetish, like voyeuristic fetish. What the hell?
I mean, it sounds like he had nothing to lose if like he never even owned. The question is like he must have been, if this is all true, that he must have been like related to somebody who like owned that building or something. Somehow he got those keys and knew the place would be vacant, I guess, and that nobody would notice. But the most terrifying feeling of like closing a door and locking it and feeling like you're in a safe space, and then realizing that the thing you were afraid of is in the room with you is so deeply scary. I saw another story, which I was almost going to bring up, but it was really, really long. But it was about this man who, like, his wife started to, they had a really normal relationship. They were together for like 6 years, and then she started to exhibit maybe some like signs of a mental health crisis, and she was peeking at him. Like he would catch her like watching him from like behind like walls and stuff. Like, and he was like, he would catch her and he'd be like thinking that she's like joking, but she wasn't really like that type of person to joke like that. And he had one experience where he was like, this was going on for like weeks and weeks, and he was in the shower and he was like shampooing, so his eyes were closed, and when he opened them, her head was in there. She was like peeking at him.
Stop!
Like a joke, like in the shower.
I can't.
And he like freaked the hell out, and he was like, what the hell are you like yelling, like, what are you doing? And then she got out, and then he heard the bathroom door slam, and he was really like having like a crisis over this, like, what is, like, I think there's something really wrong with her. So he kept the bathroom door locked, and he stayed in there trying to like work up the nerve to like get out of the bathroom to go like face her and like talk about this and see if like maybe they should contact her mother, like maybe she needs help. After an hour of being in that bathroom contemplating this, turns over to the corner. She's in the bathroom closet peeking at him and has been there in silence for an hour.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm having an episode right now. I'm getting so freaked.
I was going to say, I was like, and Stu, look behind you.
I literally thought you were going to say that. And I thought, creepers, I've got my Halloween lights up right now. So it's like purple and orange, like glow in my apartment.
It looks,
and
it's
like,
a mood. It's really good. I like it.
It's a mood, but it's freaking me out because, you know, my building is like old and creaky, and sometimes my door just like opens without anything.
That is scary. I don't like that. That would send me, because the thing is, I would immediately assume somebody opened that door, hid in the closet, and now I have to inspect. Yeah. There are times where I have to inspect every inch of my apartment before I can sleep.
You're making me need to go inspect my closet right now, and I'm not gonna, but I keep feeling like that man's wife is in there.
The mental image of, I don't know, some like woman just looking behind like a wall for like an hour in silence makes me sick to my stomach. The story actually got so much scarier. I can't keep going, but like he like ends up leaving the house or something and like goes to stay with his brother, and she like shows up in a window like drooling. It's really dark. It's dark. This is quite the episode, I must say.
This is yeah, I mean, I'm feeling extra freaking freaked. I don't know why.
'Tis the season, mama. 'Tis the season.
'Tis the season.
So how do you feel about that roommate story, though? Outside of like, we started at Sinister. Now are we someplace else? Are we at Insidious?
We're at disgusting, because the idea of opening up that room and seeing one like elementary school chair in the corner is foul.
That would be the moment I would piss. That is when urine would leave my body. Instantly.
I'm imagining your Gilly Hicks song quite literally just going.
Like, you ever see those like trick bathing suits, those like novelty bathing suits where as soon as they get wet they like fall apart in the water? That's my Gilly Hicks song, except it's like high quality cloth. It's just this is such a foul episode. I'm sorry, I'm in an October mood. It really is. I'm in a spooky mood.
No, so am I. It's all mischief. It's all mischief right now.
Isn't it? It's like deep mischief. Well, I do have one more story for you. Let me see what I titled this one. I wish I had the actual if there were titles to these, but this one I just labeled as solo camping trip. Another one where the base level is sinister. Solo camping trips.
Yeah, we're already. This is my Outward Bound story. You just took it from me. You've repackaged it.
Have you had scary camping? I mean, outside of Outward Bound, have you had a scary camping story?
No.
Really?
But we had to do the quote unquote solo night where
yes, that's what I'm thinking of.
Literally dropped us in the middle of the woods and left us there until the next morning, each one of us in a different section.
No. Like I thought when you said solo it meant like the solo group, even though that's one negates the other, but
No.
You're alone.
They took you in your group. It was so bad. I remember just being like, because my brother had gone on it. So he had told me, he was like, solo night. I had heard that for years. Like, if you survive solo night. And so our solo night was, because we went in October. So it was like already spooky season. And I think we had been like telling scary stories at night, like already. And so the counselor was like, all right, time for you all to get dropped off at your solo destinations. Oof. And this girl in my group, God love her, burst into tears. Like, and she was the first one. Like, she was lucky because she was getting dropped off when there was still daylight. They had told us, they were like, it's going to take us, we're going to hike, a little less than 2 miles to get you guys all to your solo spots. Some of you will be dropped off in daylight and some of you will be dropped off. It'll already be nighttime. I was dropped off at nighttime.
This is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Isn't that crazy for an 17-year-old?
It's outrageous. You've told me this so many times too, and every single time I have the same reaction. I'm like, that is outrageous. Because here's the thing. I'm the girl. Like, I'm crying. I'm bursting into tears. That's so scary. Yeah.
I felt so bad for her. Like, she was literally like, don't leave me. Don't leave me. And all of us were like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Like, what do we do?
No, that is like listen, there's a reason that like humans like to stay in packs. You know what I mean? Like, we know that we're not good out there like alone. So it's going against all of her instincts. Her body was reacting and being like, babes, like, don't lose your tribe.
Babes.
Like, That's how I envision everyone's body speaks. Babes.
Oh,
what are we up
babes.
to? Yeah.
So anyways.
Camping's freaky.
I'm already.
It's freaky. I did have
camping is so scary.
When Mel and I camped at a Monument Valley in Arizona. It's a native reservation. This is how I discovered Church's chicken. Because it's the only thing that was in this area. But you camp like actually on someone's land. So it was this woman, she owned the property. She has like a little camp like section. And there's lots of like lore and legend about reservations, about like things that walk out there at night. So we were already a little bit on edge, but it was so beautiful. Like the most gorgeous skies I had ever seen. We had such a great night. We had a fire, we cooked. So we finally like set up the tent and Mel and I were sleeping. In the middle, like dead asleep, middle of the night, I suddenly feel something big jump on top of me from outside of the tent. Wake up, immediately assume I'm being killed because I'm like, there's a person jumping on top of our tent.
No.
We're the only, like, it's the desert. It's the only way I can describe it. There's nobody else around. And I start panicking, realize it's not a person, it's an animal, arguably just as scary, because I'm like, it's a wolf. We're being attacked by a wolf, and we start screaming, because like we're like dead asleep and shot up, and like we start screaming. Then we realized it was the dog on the property.
He's like, I'm protecting you, bitches.
Literally, well, that's what they're there for. They're like the land dogs, because the legend is like there are things that roam at night, so every property needs like their guard dog. So when we had been hanging out with this dog like earlier in the night, but we never expected he was a big ass dog. He would just pounce on our tent. I was shook. I had nightmares.
Oh my God.
Nightmares.
And that is why. And anytime somebody offers to like have me come along with them for a camping trip, I conveniently have something else on my calendar.
It's scary. Like, here's the thing. There is nothing more ridiculous than people who have homes, like the privilege of being a person in a first world country with a home, being like, you know what would be fun? Let's leave all this silliness behind. Let's get a piece of plastic and cloth and make that our home for a night, just for a night.
Just to feel something.
Yeah, like, it's just when you really break down camping, and I know there are people who are like all into it and everything, camping's a little ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
My little brother, the biggest camper. He would camp anywhere.
Wait, which one? Blake
Loves
or John?
Camping. Blake. John does too, but Blake could just camp. He is like such an outdoorsman. I think for some people, it's that feeling of like nothing holding them back. They're not tied to anything. Like they're wanderers at heart.
Completely self-sufficient. Totally get that. Okay.
This girl is not a wanderer.
That girl who was crying.
that girl who was crying. I would like my Skinny Pop, my Cabernet.
Oh, you're talking about.
Southern
Okay.
Charm, me.
I was like,
my cable TV.
Not my Skinny Pop and Chardonnay. That's also going to go on merch.
That's on merch. Skinny Pop and Chardonnay. I don't drink Chardonnay anymore, though.
You don't? Why?
I don't. I don't like the flavor anymore. I think that was a dark, troubled time I had.
Spoken like a woman of lore. That was a dark and troubled time I was having. I think I'm just stalling because I'm scared of this next story. But
okay, me too.
I also agree with you. I no longer drink Chardonnay. I only drink Sauv Blanc.
Same.
Savvy B. Solo camping trip. Now, this one is interesting because it's supposedly true, but it was submitted anonymously. So there's no actual author to the story. I went on a solo camping trip to the woods a few miles from my house. And after setting up camp and eating, I took a half-hour nap in my tent, and then I looked up a hike. I went on the hike, and it was a normal hike, rather a quiet forest, until I thought I could hear footsteps nearby. I could have just chalked them up to it being the footsteps of an animal, but they kind of sounded human-like, if that makes sense. Considering how deep in the woods I was and how far away I was from any urbanization or town, it definitely seemed odd that I would cross paths with another person. And I didn't go looking around for anyone, though, so I just continued with my hike, and then when I got back to my tent, the first thing that I noticed was that the zipper on my tent was undone and the door flap was open. Right away, my heart started racing at the thought that someone had been in my tent. But I checked to make sure that nobody was still in there first, and then I went inside and I saw that my bag had been gone through. And surprisingly, nothing was taken. I contemplated packing up and just moving spots, but I figured that it might be pointless because whoever came had already scoped out the place and they left. Therefore, there wouldn't really be a reason for them to come back. Fast forward to that night, when I finally get into my tent to go to sleep, a few minutes after getting into my sleeping bag, I heard a noise. At first, I heard it and I couldn't really tell what it was, but then the second time I heard it, it sounded a bit like staticky breathing. I sat up and I looked around my tent, and at that point, it went silent. So I was sitting up with my heart racing for a decent while, looking around, and then I laid back down, and I tried to move past it, but then not even a second after I had closed my eyes, I heard it again. Some kind of grainy, staticky breathing noise. I started digging through my bag and I found something I knew for certain I did not have with me. I pulled out a huge, archaic-looking walkie-talkie type thing, and the static was emanating from that. I instantly associated it with the footsteps and whoever had searched my tent, but all I was thinking is, why would they have put that in there? Just when the static stopped, and then there was a breathing sound that was now coming from the walkie-talkie. And then a deep, almost unintelligible whisper said, "I'm outside your tent."
No.
It's crazy how in just a couple of seconds your whole world can change and how your whole body can be overcome with fear. I frantically pressed the buttons on the oversized walkie-talkie until it finally seemed to turn off, and then I heard something hit the ground outside of my tent. Something heavy. I had a choice. I could stand my ground and protect my belongings and myself, or what I could do is make a straight dash to my pickup truck. And then when I heard something else hit the ground right outside the tent, I chose the latter and I made a run for the pickup. I left behind my tent, my sleeping bag, and other equipment, but in reality, none of that stuff really mattered when my life was potentially on the line. And for all I know, it was some kind of a trap just to get me to leave and keep all my stuff behind for them to take. But it could have genuinely have been someone who intended to harm me. That is our story.
Good night. Good night.
Happy October, mama.
So, okay, so they had put the walkie-talkie in this person's tent, and then all of a sudden was just like playing with them when they were about to go to sleep.
I think so. But imagine like you pull out the walkie-talkie, and as you're trying to figure out who would have put this here, you just hear, "I'm outside your tent."
My legs are quivering right now.
I can't, again, another reason not to go camping, but like it's stuff like that I just can't take. Like the thought of someone like talking through a device to you, through a Ring camera, through like oh my God, story of like a baby monitor. You know, my mom was almost stolen when she was a baby.
No.
Did I ever tell you this?
No.
Oh my God. So my mom was born in 1960. I don't know if that's relevant to the story, but hopefully it places you. I grew up in the same house that she grew up in. So it happened in the house I grew up in when she was a baby in 1960s. So my Aunt Donna was watching her, babysitting her. And in the room where they had the crib, it was like the nursery was ground level. She had put her down for a nap and then heard something that kind of sounded like something moving. And but it sounded almost like wood. So she was like, that can't really be the crib. Like she's in like a bed. So she went in there to like see what was going on. From what she said, window was open. A pair of hands were coming into the room, into the nursery, reaching for my mom as a baby. She literally it is the scariest thing I had ever heard. We grew up in this house, and that house was robbed too, I think in the 60s. She literally ran to the window, slammed it shut on this guy's fingers, grabbed my mom, and locked herself in a bathroom. Like, that's too much.
Oh my God.
That might have been the scariest.
I could have not had you in my life. That's the scariest part.
Oh God. That's true.
Oh my God. I guess like, I don't know like what the stats are behind like kidnapping of babies, but I feel like it must have been more of a thing back then.
That's why instinctively I was like, the year was 1960, because it almost feels more not appropriate, but I feel like, that was a thing. Like there were less regulations, even though I know this happened outside of a place that would be like, this was at home, you know? When I think of baby nappings, I think of like hospital nurseries and like someone coming in and like taking a baby. There was a woman who did that. I remember covering a story on that, and she like pretended to be a nurse. I think it was like she lost her baby and it sent her into a psychosis. So she concocted a plan, pretended to be like a natal nurse, and went in and took a baby like right out of the hospital. That's insane.
Oh my God. I'm so glad that your mom wasn't taken. That is so scary.
I know. But what's crazy too is like they stayed in the house after that. And this was like before the age of, robust security systems. It's like the 1960s. So I don't even think they had a gun. But I know that while they were gone a few years later, like maybe 5 years later, somebody came in and robbed the house. Like they took the TV and they took a bunch of stuff. We lived in a small town too. Like it was a pretty like normal suburban neighborhood.
What did y'all have in that room growing up?
Oh, that was my bedroom.
And that, ladies and gentlemen,
was like, Mama, they re-wallpapered it just for me. It was my bedroom.
Oh my God. So when you heard that story, were you like, I can't sleep anymore?
I think when I had first heard about it, I was really young, and I think they realized I was scared. So they actually told me it was the upstairs bedroom, even though that didn't make sense because how could hands become? But I believed it as a kid. I was like, okay, as long as it wasn't my bedroom. But I remember I hated that bedroom because it was such an old style bedroom that it had an arched doorway with no door. So like you couldn't even install a door. So from the ages of like, I don't know, 1 to 9, I just didn't have a bedroom door. It's a dark hour.
You were just farting away and everybody
just I mean, I was up late watching like scary movies in there. I was just hanging out. I shared that room with my brother for a little bit too, but like we had different tastes. So half of my room had wallpaper that was like of the zodiac signs, not the killer, but like astrology. And the other half was like Red Sox wallpaper. Couldn't have been two different worlds. Like my side was decorated by Blue Moon. And his was like Champs. Oh, it was wild.
Oh my God.
Let's do.
That's
all I got.
Crazy.
That is all I got, Mama.
Oh my God.
Which one of those
that
felt
was
the scariest?
So fun.
Wasn't it fun?
Okay, let me think.
The roommate one still kind of messes me up bad,
I think for roommate, it's roommate for me. 100%. Wait, which one is the one that you said like had photos and stuff?
Oh, which one was it again? I think it was the last one I talked about. It was the camping one. Yeah. Because like he had pictures from like the day of the hike or something like that. And I think a video too, I'm pretty sure. There was another one. I almost did a lockdown one where there was an actual like picture from, it was in like a band rehearsal room in like a high school where there's like a door where you're not supposed, it like leads to the back like parking lot of the school and you're not supposed to open it unless like a student shows their ID through the window. But for some reason, out of instinct, somebody knocked and somebody just opened it and like a man came in with his hands in his pockets in front of the whole band room. And the band teacher was like, "Can I help you?" And he was like, "I'm here to take my daughter out of school." And the band teacher was like, "Well, this is a band rehearsal room, so you can't do it here. You have to go down the hallway to the office to check her out." Which I thought was really smart in the story, because he was basically like, you don't meet crazy with crazy, you meet crazy with calm.
Yeah.
And like, just give him like a very matter-of-fact direction, like redirect him someplace else and then immediately like phone it in. So that's exactly what he did. Like the second the guy like left the room, they locked the doors, called the front office, the whole school goes into lockdown. They found the guy, never even had a daughter. No daughter. He had committed armed robbery and was trying to hide out in the school for a little bit and did have a gun on him.
Oh my God.
He was like 10 feet away from all these kids in the band rehearsal room. And there's a picture of all of them with their damn clarinets. Just.
That is, do you know, I actually have a lockdown story.
You
True
personally?
Story. Yes.
Whoa.
I must have been, I was young. Like we had just moved to North Carolina. So I definitely was like over the age of 10, but I was probably like 10 or 11.
Okay.
And I was doing a summer camp at my middle school. So it wasn't like a full school population, like very small groups. There were like a couple of different summer camps that were being run at the same time. We got a call that I remember our counselor got a call that we had to get back to, we were in the gym, which was separate from the school, and we had to get back into the school immediately. And like all of a sudden it was like, go, go, go. Like everybody like run back to the school.
Oh my God.
And there was an armed gunman that I guess an armed man that had just robbed a nearby bank, I guess. And he was running through the back of our school, like literally feet behind where we were, like in the gym, trying to cut through the back. And I remember when we started running, like somebody thought they like saw him and everybody was like screaming, like, and then we got in and we were all locked in, like in that classroom for, I think like 3 hours.
Yeah.
All the police came and they tried to find the guy and they didn't find the guy.
Oh God, that's so scary. I'm very happy you're safe. That is a very, very scary situation, and it happens a lot. We had that in college too, actually, a lot. We had a couple of like I went to a very big school, for anybody who doesn't know, and I remember we had a lot of people bomb threats on campus, but some of them like credible. I think there was a student who like had some kind of explosive on him and like walked into either a dining hall or a dorm or something. One time in one of our classes, a professor, I know who it is, I can't say his name, literally burst through the door and goes, "There's an active shooter on campus in our class."
Oh.
He was wrong. I'll tell you, in retrospect, what he actually heard was the lid to a big dumpster closing, and he thought it was someone shooting. So he thought, instead of like inspecting, he was like, "I have to warn everybody immediately. Better safe than sorry." But for him to burst into our classroom and go, "There's an active shooter on campus," I remember we froze up. Like we didn't know what to do.
Oh my God.
You can't do that to acting students.
You cannot say that.
Not people who are getting their BFA.
No,
because they're going to go out there and they're just going to put both arms out.
They're going to start. Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. You just reminded me of, not on the same page, but a little bit on the same page. I had to work on Assassins, the musical
in college.
Oh my Lord. The freaking gunshots and the, like every time backstage, I was like, because I wasn't in the show, I just worked on it. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't actually know when things were really happening. I was just doing wardrobe. And so I would go like chill backstage. And then all of a sudden it was like, I was just like,
it's scary. Every time it happens in a movie, I get scared. You want to know something about Assassins, though, when they did it at Yale Rep? Because
yes.
I didn't see it, but Scott and Gavin did go see it. And I guess there was an older man who was brought to see it, like much older. And they sat him in the front row being like, oh, seniors first, like you get, priority seating. Maybe not a show for somebody who is older and easily startled.
Hold on. We had the same experience. I know where this is going. Continue.
Basically,
I'm going to be shocked.
One of those guns was like fired in the show. That man certainly did shit his pants. He certainly shit his pants.
Silas, we had an audience member shit their pants. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious.
Is that just like a disclaimer that has to be said before that musical? It's crazy to have a musical.
To be.
I have cried at musicals. I have laughed myself silly. I have never shit myself during a musical. Not yet. I got close during the second time I saw Wicked. I got close. But merrily we roll along. Very close. What's the one you saw at what's the one you saw in New York recently? Light at the Piazza or whatever.
Oh my God.
I still have that voice memo from you coming back from that. That was so endearing to hear your reaction to that.
Oh my God. That wasn't even like shitting my pants. It was just sobbing until I couldn't breathe. Like,
until you puke, yeah.
Until I puked.
That is crazy. We had a parallel story.
The exact same experience, except I will add that in the professional theater on my college campus, like we both went to big colleges that had very similar programs. Our stage was a thrust, and then which is like basically Creepers. It's like a 3-sided stage, and then there's what they call VOMs, which are basically like these exit ramps so that actors can come sort of like through the audience, but not really. Like it's almost like they come up through a tunnel to get onto the stage, not like your typical proscenium stage.
Look at you with this theater degree, like throwing out all the lingo.
Degree. Oh my God. Creepers are probably like
Professor Stu.
Snooze fest. But this man, I think, knew he was having a problem.
No.
And so he ran down through the tunnel, through the VOM, to try to get to the bathroom in the lobby. Ends up just trail of shit. And I was working wardrobe with another girl, and our whole thing was that we would meet one of the actors in the tunnel to do their quick change because they didn't have time to go all the way backstage. So we would meet them with what they call a bite light, which is like you put a little flashlight in your mouth and you bite on it when the actor comes off stage because it's pitch black and you need to see where you're going to zip them up. We start running through the tunnel and I'm like, Katie, does it smell like shit in here? And she's like, yes. What is that smell? And I'm like, I don't know, but look out. And
but look out.
We get up through the tunnel. We meet the actress. She comes off stage. She's like, oh my God, what is that smell? And I've got this light that I'm biting down on so hard. And I'm like, I got 20 seconds to get this woman out of a full corset. And I'm like, oh no. Like we're both just trying to focus. And then we get her zipped up. She goes back on stage. And I'm like, let's take our damn bite lights and we're going to bite on them and try to see what we can see in here. Just trail of shit.
No.
Trail of shit.
No. Oh God, that's awful, Stu.
It was truly character building. I will never forget that.
That is formative. Like stuff like that. The fact that it was Katie too makes it more funny for me.
I know.
Katie. What is that?
Katie. What is that? And then I remember the stage manager coming on backstage on the intercom going, actors, there's been an accident in one of the VOMs. We're going to be laying out
wait, the God
caution,
mic? Like the Full House?
Yeah.
Oh,
no, not the Full House. Backstage.
It was like, audience,
we were so
please
close to the
seats.
end of Act 1. Oh my God. That would have been actually incredible.
That happened to me at Long Wharf. I was on stage. Was on stage in a dinner scene, and I forgot the name of the show I was in, but we didn't even realize this happened. And Colin, stage manager, got on the God mic and goes, "Actors, please stand up and leave the stage." We had no idea what just happened. Apparently, a girl stood up, like a grown woman stood up, projectile vomited over like half the audience.
Oh my God.
And that's our impact on stage. And Scott and Gavin, I think, were at that show, but they had to stop the show because that's like a extreme like safety hazard. Like you can't carry on with a show. Like you have to stop and like properly clean it. But we just got right up and we walked right out.
That is so foul. It wasn't even 1984.
It wasn't. What did I call it last time? 1989.
1989.
I kept saying I was like
Taylor's impact.
Taylor's impact on the psyche. We have really spiraled from scary stories to talking about patrons shitting and throwing up all over themselves.
This is like Gilly Hicks part 2. This is giving Gilly Hicks.
It is. It's the silliness of it all. But Stu, I want to say thank you for listening to my spooky stories. This was a good one, but I almost feel like I can go further. Like I can find worse that's out there. But these were pretty damn bad.
You scratch the itch, but I know there's got to be things that are just absolutely foul on Reddit.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, these were just like across the internet, but like Reddit, I needed to find them across the internet because I needed to verify as much as I could. I'm like, is this true? But
yeah,
something about that roommate one really got me good. One last story, just because we were talking about Scott and Gavin. Speaking of roommates, when I was in college, our house, okay, so I lived at our college was a big school, but there was nothing around our school. Like it's just farmland. There's absolutely nothing out there. I only lived on campus, like in a dorm, my first year. And then after that, Scott and Gavin and I moved off campus into a little house. Rent was $500 a month. Pray to God, I'll never get it again.
So it was mine.
$500 a month, this house off campus, and it was a 2-family home, and it was in the middle of the woods. Like it was pitch black out there at night. Now, the reason the duplex part is important is because we knew the people who lived in front of us. Like we had their numbers and everything. Our spot was in the back of the house. To get to our front door, you would have to walk all the way up our dirt driveway in pitch black, go behind the house, get up onto our back deck, go all the way around the deck to the side of the house to ring the doorbell. That's important context because one night, it was like 12:30 at night. I wake up in my bed because somebody just rang our doorbell. Pitch black outside. I get up and I go to Scott's room and I'm like, Scott, I'm like, somebody's at our door. That bitch didn't move. He goes, he was like, go answer it. And I was like, someone's at our door, like the back of the, like I was like trying to get it through his skull. I'm like, there's someone at the back of the house. And he wouldn't get up. So then I go to Gavin's room and I'm like, Gavin, it's like somebody's at our door. Same thing. No, but they're just willing to die. So then I was like, I'm looking, our bedrooms were on the downstairs of the house. The living room was on the upstairs. It's a very weird setup, but I'm looking up the pitch black stairs being like, because the second you go up those stairs, the glass door, like you're visible. So I'm like, am I about to go up those stairs and see who is ringing our doorbell at 12:30 a.m.? Because it's not the people in the front because we have their phone. Like they would just call us. Like they have our phone numbers. We get a text or something. Mm-hmm. It's somebody who's like at our door. And I just decided I'm going to take my chances. And I went back to my room. I locked the door. I pressed 911 and just kept the phone open, ready to dial.
Stop.
I'm actually a very relaxed and calm person, and I don't really assume the worst of anything.
And that's why you and I are friends, because that was me always, too.
I was
just like
so
the
scared.
Second I heard a creak, I was like, Miss Clavel, like, something is not right. Like, sitting up in my bed, like, how am I going to get out of here?
Miss Clavel, I can't believe you just brought that up. You're inside my brain. Something is not right. Something is quite wrong.
Something is not right. Yeah. Oh my God.
And so I sing this song And with that, creepers, we're gonna be back.
It's a wrap.
We're gonna be back next week with another episode on Friday. Thank you so much for listening to these spooky stories. We love you guys so much.
We love you so much. Happy Friday the 13th.
Happy Friday the 13th. Bye, guys.
I hope it's creepy.
Woo!
Bye.